Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very exciting week. Finally, July 4th is over, and we have every major bank and more reporting this week. Not everyone, but a lot of them that we're going to go over. Guess who reports even the week after on Monday? Netflix, that is right. Is our 92% strategy on the 1 minute still working? You're going to find out right now. Our precise daily stock levels, as well as our game plan in Forex, as well as our full stock analysis. I am Mark Melnick, and this is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. We have an interesting week coming up. Who would have thought? Right after the July 4th week and all the choppiness has stopped and everything like that. And we have a very, I would argue, exciting agenda here. Oh, hold on. Let me just go ahead and fix that. Guys, can't see the scene. Just 1 second. Your screen will be black. I am still with you. I will guide you through this darkness. There we go. Beautiful. Banks reporting and more. My analysis. Let's go over it. So we talked about, some of the banks after the Fed stress test, and I was completely bearish on it because these companies came out and they started buying more and more stock. And if you listen to the Newsbeat show and some of the things we were talking about how these banks had to pull in because it just seemed too easy. It didn't make sense. If these banks are doing major buybacks, I gave the mathematical argument. If you're buying $21 billion worth of stock like Bank of America is doing, where would you rather buy it? Would you rather buy it when prices are high or prices are low? And that's a rhetorical question. Mathematically, you'd want to buy it lower because you would get more shares of your company. It's very simple. So with that being said, just taking a little look here at like Bank of America. So let's talk about what happened after the stress test. We're going to go over all the earnings reporting. Actually, Bank of America is reporting the week after, but we have names like Citigroup, J.P. Morgan, PNC, Wells Fargo, major companies reporting. That's why it pays to go over it. So here is my argument. Now, I'm going to give you the reasoning. I'm not just going to tell you whether I think it goes up or down and whether I was right or wrong. I think you just need to get a little bit of a little delve into my mind. Try not to go crazy as you do it. But taking a look here at Bank of America, the buyback is priced in. Remember when all these banks passed their stress test right here and they gapped it up? On Friday and Thursday. They even gapped it up after hours on Thursday. And I said, don't buy into this. I said, this is a shorting opportunity. Is it a coincidence after I said that Bank of America put in a bearish engulfing bar with high volume off the gap up? Like, no, I don't want to use the word obvious. It's likely. It's very high probability. And you have names like Citigroup reporting. You can see exactly what Citigroup did, gapped up, and I mean, for lack of a better word, pulled in couple points. I mean, that's, pretty big. Fell, wasn't able to really hold up from that gap up well. This is where the banks screwed up. I'm going to explain it to you. This is where the banks actually screwed up. The banks screwed up because they did this buyback to appease the Fed stress test or the bank stress test, whatever you want to call it. My stress test for me is how often I could run in circles with a 3-year-old. But for these banks, they wanted to impress the Fed. And what they did was they started buying back. Stupid banks, or intelligent because I think we're going to be able to take advantage of them. Here, you see these two thumbs? That's the direction I think the banks are going. Stupid banks. I mean, genius banks. Stupid for shareholders. I don't want to use the word stupid, but look, if the goal is to hold your stock price higher, if the goal is to have your stock trading at 52-week highs, higher, trading near recent highs, the banks couldn't have made a bigger mess up. So if you remember when Facebook reported, I came out to you and I said Facebook's they're gonna do a major buyback, maybe the biggest ever in history, and that's what I said. I also said the same about Apple when Apple reported light numbers, but they came out with the buyout on top of the light numbers, so it all got factored in together, so it didn't get so beaten up. Where the bank screwed up, where Apple and Facebook went well, what what Apple and Facebook did very well is they knew their earnings were going to be garbage. They knew their earnings were not going to pass the sniff test. They were like, what the hell? Wash your hands. Like it was going to be one of those things for them. And what they did is they announced the crappy earnings, but they said, wait, here are crappy earnings, but we're going to do the biggest buyback ever in history of the company. And traders are like, oh, okay, I see. Your earnings kind of suck, but if you're willing to put that much money behind your stock, you must feel it's still undervalued, and you can make a good argument here. The problem with what these banks did is they went ahead and they did the buyback for the stress test. Terrible, terrible timing. You know what that means? It means you have no cushion. It means you have no cushion. It means you have no. Now you're on the football field and you're playing with no gear on. And believe me, you do not want to get sacked if you're one of these names. I am bearish across the board. I'm sure some will look better than others. They're different companies, but it's coming out Friday. How can we take advantage of this? I think we start looking for certain resistance levels in the bank from this point forward. I think we hope that a lot of these banks climb higher, and then just what I'm going to do is I want to explain my strategy here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an options strangle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy options for earnings, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy them one at a time. I'm not going to buy the puts and calls together. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically betting on these stocks going up and down. I think people have a full week to trade with these banks. All these banks are reporting Friday, by the way, Friday morning. Citigroup, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo. So I'm just pulling up letter C, Citigroup, as an example here. So, for example, what am I going to do? Well, let's say Citigroup pops up tomorrow. Cross my fingers. Let's say Citigroup pops up tomorrow. 68.64, I buy some puts. 68.64 is resistance. It's algorithmic resistance on Citigroup. I buy puts. Now, here's the funny thing about the calls. I'm bearish. So, Mark, why would you buy calls if you're bearish? Because I would need a much larger move to the downside. So, for me, 68.64 to short, for example, approximately, but 64.07 to go long. $64 would probably have to break for me to want to go long. So, again, you go up $1.50, I'm shorting. You go down $3, $3.50, $4, I buy long with the intention of maybe even selling out before earnings hits. It's kind of a weird strategy. I will be updating you guys throughout the week. I think Citigroup is going to crap on earnings. I think Wells Fargo is going to crap on earnings. By the way, I was just on the phone with Wells Fargo customer service. That is the worst customer service I have ever dealt with in my entire life. I don't care about any one of these customer service calls that you have had where you get a guy or a girl who barely speaks English and you're like, oh God, I'm going to have to try to explain my problem to somebody who has an English comprehension on a third grade level. No, we're talking people who are fully literate, know exactly what I'm talking about, understand exactly what I'm talking about, and the most incompetent, imbecilic, worst company to deal with customer service. Given their garbage customer service, and given that their numbers should be garbage, this is going to be something that I want to short. This is going to be something I really want to buy puts in. Because their earnings are going to suck. I really don't care that much about their customer service. Honestly, I just gave up on it this week. But with that being said, you have names like JP Morgan here, which are holding by tighter support. Now, JP Morgan is a little different. Now, the problem is with a lot of these banks is a lot of them are going to be able to report positive numbers on their holdings and things like that. I just think the timing, I think everybody's looking at this and they're thinking it's too easy. I guarantee you what the analysts are going to say this week. They're going to come out, they're going to say, all these names are bullish. They're going to come out, they're going to say, they all passed their stress test. Everything looks good with this JP Morgan over here, and we recommend buying it into earnings. And that's what I believe you will see coming out, tomorrow. Captain Hindsight, Captain Omniscience over here, trying to look to see what happens in the future. I think they're going to look at a chart like this in JP Morgan, and they're just going to, say, all right, it looks like a buy because of the stress test. Where these analysts are failing. And again, I'm not a professional analyst. I don't get paid a huge salary just to give poor advice to my clients on some of these banks. But I will say, looking at a JP Morgan here, I think you have to approach it from the short side. So if I don't short it, let's say the banks, I don't know what the banks are going to do. They're going to grind sideways. They're going to go up. They're going to go down. For me, only one of those scenarios gets me in a position, and it's if the banks go up. So I would love to see the banks rally into Friday, and then on Thursday, just cut it short and just stick with the puts. Again, I am bearish. It's doubtful I go long. These stocks would have to pull all the way down and go all the way up between Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for me to do so. And that's how I'm going to handle it. I am bearish on these banks. Again, whether I'm right or wrong, I was bearish after the stress test, and a lot of these names are trading lower or at similar levels after they passed their stress test. So I'm like, that's kind of awkward. And believe me, there's the irony behind it, talking about preserving shareholder value. The irony behind it is the banks want to dip down on earnings. So how, you try to put yourself, here's JP Morgan, multi-billion dollar company, and they're sitting there in a boardroom and they're talking about these earnings weeks ago, and I guarantee you they'll be talking about it in their boardroom this week as they're prepping to release it to Wall Street, and they're going to say the same thing. Please sell off our stock. They're not gonna want to say too many rosy things. They want to say just the right things so the market will sell them off. And that will be the best thing for JP Morgan. That will be the best thing for the bank. Because the bank doesn't care about the short term. The bank rather own, if you watch the Newsbeat show, basically from last week, the June 28th show, if you watch it, I literally break down the tens of millions of shares extra that these companies will mathematically get on their buybacks if the stock dips a certain number of points. It is in the best interest of every single one of these banks to sell on earnings. It's to me, it just looks so obvious. I know the Wall Street analysts are going to be disagreeing with me this week. I think we really have to look into a potential short, or at least I can't tell you what to do, obviously, for legal reasons. I will be looking to bet on these banks going lower. How about another name? Netflix. Netflix. Okay. They're reporting not this week. They're reporting next Monday, but I think I should talk about it as well. This is my strategy this week with Netflix to play it for earnings next week. Please, Netflix go down. Please, Netflix go down. Because I'm putting the chances that their earnings and outlook don't look good at zero. 0%. Now, I'm not saying it gaps up on earnings 100%, but I'm saying you're going to look at the Netflix numbers. You're going to look at what Wall Street expects on revenue. You're going to look at what Wall Street expects on subscriber growth. And Netflix's numbers are going to be above there. I would say it's as close to a 100% chance of that happening. Now, again, Netflix is a $408 stock. Where can this name potentially go if it gaps up on earnings? You ready for this number on Netflix? You guys are going to love it. You ready? Over $460. Over, not 460, over $460. Netflix right now is a $408 company. The all-time high was 423. I could see Netflix riding up to earnings. I think you buy this on any dip. Again, we took it as an overnight on Thursday, 402.5 calls. We made money. We've been doing so good on Netflix in this room. The majority of us just really just pounding this thing like it owes us something. And, for me, just any down move in Netflix will encourage me to buy it. So I will give you the exact levels. Oh, you're going to get the levels every single day in which I'm looking to buy Netflix. Every single day, I will show you the levels. So whether you're part of the Newsbeat live room or not, you will have access to see exactly the levels I'm watching in which I am looking to purchase Netflix into next week's earnings. Yeah, we'll get to that. How about another quick question? Is our 92% strategy on the 1 minute still working? I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but the horse is actually kicking, you know, neighing or whatever obnoxious sound the horse makes. But just taking it over to the chart, um, let's take a look. So, as we tell you every single week, we give you a 1 minute chart and we see if it's scalpable. So here we got three names. These are the names that we gave you on Friday. This is names that we give in the room. If you're not part of the room, you obviously didn't see them. It's impossible to share with you these names, as the Newsbeat show is obviously a nightly thing. But these are the three names that we gave on our morning game plan. These are the three names that we give you prior to the market opening 5 days a week. So I just wanted to go over with them. And the funny thing is, I didn't go over them. I just want to go over them now. Let's go ahead and take a look. So here was Lulu. Lulu was a funny trade. It popped up. I didn't buy through here. This pop here was good for a 33-cent move over here, and then it just dipped down a little and then headed up, shot up. I actually made money on some lotto calls early and then lost with some lotto calls late in the day. And that was pretty much what happened with me with Lulu. However, if you just traded it strictly on the 1 minute for the quick scalp, you're looking for that quick 10, 15, 20 cents, as we always talk about. It was very, very easily done right here. As you could see, when you busted through 125.51, you got to 84, even gave you a little bit of a pullback and then shot up. I'm saying you even missed this whole pop up where it potentially, and a lot of us didn't miss it, but some of you guys crushed this Lulu because we're buying Lulu lotto calls, basically options that are extremely cheap. Like people always ask, like, what is a lottery call? It's like it literally sounds like a lottery ticket. Like basically you could come and what do you do with a lottery ticket? You buy it and you generally throw it in the garbage. But if you don't throw it in the garbage, I mean, you must have crushed it. So, in a case like Lulu, we watched like 40-cent calls go to like over $3. So like for me, that's like a 700+% gain. So imagine, you bet $100 risk on Lulu, meaning if Lulu goes bankrupt, you're losing $100, and the most you could have made on it was $700. Very easy to make a quick $50, $100, $200, but the most you could have made was $700. That's a lotto ticket. But just back to the 1 minute strategy, you could see it obviously worked here. World Wrestling Entertainment. So again, if you don't know what the 1 minute strategy is, there is a Facebook video that we talk about it. It's called the One and Done. Literally just type in Newsbeat show number 117. That's 117. You could look at it. You could look it up on whatever platform you're watching this right now. Obviously, it's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Watch Newsbeat show number 117 if you haven't yet. It's one of the hottest videos in the entire company right now at T3 for this month. It actually not one of it is the most viewed video in terms of minutes being spent watching that video. I highly recommend it because there's a great strategy there and it's free and it's helping you make money. So back to the 1 minute strategy. We're just looking for a breakout of the 1 minute here. Here's World Wrestling Entertainment. Again, not cherry picking, just going through every single name I give. Falls, falls, falls. Oh, here's 75.20, the high here. Here's the high 75.19. Here's the high 75.15. 1 minute break shoots from 75.15 to 75.58. Right over there. That's an easy, painless winner. Easy, painless winner. If you held it for a few more minutes, the stock shot to 76.35. The stock shot up $1.20 in 3 minutes. Out of that $1.20, I'm saying, I mean, I just again, you can make stuff up. I would say 25 cents is pretty damn easy for the majority of people, considering how high it popped. If you held maybe a little or you held it 2 minutes longer, you would have made more. But the whole point being is you could have easily made a quarter, 30 cents, 40 cents, 60 cents was probably easy as well, on a simple 1 minute strategy like WWE. And of course, moving on, this is the one that the majority of people in room took the 1 minute on because it was the thickest name here. Is Apple, of course. Apple got an upgrade. Let's see if the 1 minute strategy worked on Apple. High here of 185.81. breaks through right over here, hits 185.95. You have a simple stop at the bottom of the 1 minute candle, and you just chase it up, and it never breaks all the way up until here. Stock shoots up to 186.54, gives you a nice 73-cent move in Apple in a matter of 6 minutes. Look, I'm not saying you catch that. Again, I'm trying to be very logical here. I'm saying if you try to catch 10, 20 cents on that 70, 30 cents, I'm saying it's doable. And if you have better holding power than I do, you watched it shoot up all day. And that's pretty much what WWE did. And that's pretty much what Lululemon did if you would have bought them. But I'm not even talking about the bigger picture here, which people in the room have caught. I'm just saying that if you went ahead and you applied that 1 minute strategy in which I show you exactly how to do it in Newsbeat Show 117, you would have been able to capitalize on every single one of our ideas. And I've gotten so many great emails from you guys, and I just wanted, again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. So many of you traders are, people who are just not in the room. I mean, these are some of you guys are, yeah, primary jobs. You're interested in being a trader, but you want to just keep your mind in the market because you love it so much. There's this dude. I have this email. I can't drop his name, but he basically says the following, and I'm just going to go ahead and read it now. Mark, thank you so much. I love the videos that you do every night. Yada yada yada. Da, da, da. I apply the 1 minute strategy every single day this week. I am a member of your room, and I literally hang out for the first 10 minutes every single day, as per your Newsbeat show talks, because I talked about how you could just trade. He literally trades 10 minutes a day and then goes to his primary job. He is showing me his P&L here. He is up 2,300 for the week. Again, I'm not saying he hit a home run. 2,300 for the week. He's catching these little scalps. He worked 50 minutes, 50 minutes to make $2,300. I think Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg might get paid more for working 50 minutes, but that's about it. Okay? Like, that is so inspirational for me when I see that, because there's so many traders who are just literally working 10 minutes a day ever since I did that video last week. So good for you. And guess what? I'm not done giving you strategies for you hardcore traders. I'm going to give you longer term strategies as well, and everything else as well. It's all coming. Just be patient. It's going to be here. It's going to be all offered to you. And I promise you that. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have our game plan in Forex. Pretty simple game plan. Just a couple names. First is this ACIU, which is AC Immune, little biotech company that exploded on Friday. I'm looking for a break of $14 tomorrow. I probably don't even trade it unless it's upgraded. But again, there are a lot of people who are not in the room who are looking for names, and this is the type of stuff I find. So ACIU, bullish trigger, $14. And of course, we have Stitch Fix. That is definitely one of our favorites. I mean, I would say, I'm 100% sure. I mean, I don't have every single trader's in the room's records, and nor would I want them. Please don't send me your names and passwords. But this is a stock. I would probably say we made at least, what, 10, $15 million in this room with Stitch Fix? At least 10, $15 million, probably more with some of the bigger funds and stuff swinging this thing. I mean, this name has just been. I'm still holding it. I'm still holding my original shares. I did sell a lot at 30, but look at this thing. Again, Stitch Fix, one of my favorite stocks. This one in sale, as you guys already know. Look at this Stitch Fix, 32. Remember, we were calling it so bullish here when you were digesting on this falling wedge, and boop, stock shot up $6 in 2 days. I'm still holding it. I still think it could go higher. I know. I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe it goes lower and then higher, but I still think this thing goes higher. And as a result, I gave you a bullish trigger at the all-time high, $32.42. Do you guys want every single one of my Forex trades? Do you guys want to see with just No fluff, no BS, just my straight up orders. These are live orders. None of them are filled. They're all open positions. I am giving you exactly where I'm buying in this case, I have one short order on the table where I'm trying to buy and sell all of these Forex currency pairings. Again, I consider Forex part time, considering that I probably spend 15 minutes a day and most of that time is like screenshotting it and sharing it with you guys. Probably takes me around 5-10 minutes a day. I wouldn't consider myself a full-time forex trader, but here we are. You get the type of orders I'm doing. You have 5 buy orders, one sell order, which is a short order, obviously. Here's my size in US standard lots, 444. I'm still trying to nail that US dollar Canadian trade. I did change the price though. Those are 10 standard lots. And then, of course, US dollar Swiss, I'm trying to short. There are the symbols. Here's where I'm looking to get filled, up to 5 decimal places out. You get exactly where I'm placing my order. Not a penny more, not a penny less, not a micro pip or I can't get I'm from the United States. I can't get into that jargon with the pips. It just to me that's where I'm buying in. That's, if I'm wrong, this is where I'm going to lose money, and if I'm right, this is where I'm taking profit. Very simple. Obviously, the US dollar Canadian trade I should probably talk about since the trade is massive. And with a multiplicative of 15 and 15 times 10 is 150 standard lots. That is, I mean, for me, that would be probably the largest position I've ever taken if I get filled. So, what do I want to see? I want to see US dollar Canadian come down to this algo buster level. If you are interested in the algo buster level, of course, you could go to T3 Live. You could ask about it. It's like $195. It's the most popular course there at the moment, and it's been, helping traders realize consistency across the globe. But just to share it with you, right over here, I'm looking for this Algo Buster reversal line, and I'm looking to buy it on this line right here based off this trend line. Now, you might be looking at this trend line. You might be sitting there wondering, like, why that trend line? Because the funny thing is, most people think they can know how to draw a trend line. You're probably wrong. You're probably wrong. 20,000 hours into drawing trend lines, I couldn't draw a trend line. Everybody thinks they could draw a trend line. Believe me, every single person I have seen, I'm not dropping names, every single person I've seen in this firm and other firms do not know how to draw a trend line correctly. They get about approximate, but there's no methodology behind it. There's no exactness behind it. For me, you need to be able to do it to the penny because that's what robots do. So if you're generalizing with a trend line, you're probably doing it wrong. And again, this is my life's work. It's not coming from a cocky or conceited place. When I was growing up and I was playing video games, everybody, and you might be one of those people if you played a game, everybody had a friend who was the best Street Fighter player they knew. Everybody had a friend who was the best Street Fighter player, they've ever met in their lives because there's a group of friends and they'd play video games and one of them would probably decimate all the others and he was the best and he would just destroy everyone they're known. He's the best ever. And I would probably say in my life, I've probably went against like 50 of those people, that one person who claims that they're the best at it, and I've never lost once. I mean, it's just one of those things where everybody thinks it's easy, it isn't. And that's the important part of this strategy here. Some people are looking, thinking, why aren't you drawing this line? Isn't this legitimate? Isn't this legitimate if it bangs against support right here? And I'm like, yes, it is. Isn't, this legitimate for a potential short up here? Yes, these are all legitimate lines. But why this line right here? Like, let me delete it for you just so you could see it one more time. Why is this one of Mark's largest conviction lines ever? Right over here. It's kind of random and weird, right? To just say that that's the higher conviction line and that has the highest chance of working more than any other line on the chart right now from a statistical analysis perspective. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around that. And that's exactly what the course shows you. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into our full stock analysis. That's your stocks, my levels, my thoughts, where I would look to personally buy your stock, because I would never tell you where you should buy your stock, but I will tell you exactly where I would look to buy your stock or sell your stock. That is for Newsbeat Live members only. Ladies and gentlemen, we're the fastest growing trading room in the nation. Happy trading, make money. We'll see you guys next time on the Newsbeat Live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.